Hey there, how you doing? Welcome back. We're going to be doing some work on the torso now. Okay, so first of all I'm going to pull out my reference picture, and I've got quite a few that I've gathered off the internet for myself, but I'll be supplying lots of pictures of this model for those of you who need reference images. That way it's easier and slightly more legal. Okay, now if I look at my layers so far, I've got my left leg, right leg and hips, so I need to make torso. So I'm going to create a new layer with this part inside it and rename it torso. Okay, and now if I hide everything except the torso. Now this, as you know, is our scaffold, so what I'm going to do is use this to make our actual mesh. So I'm just kind of looking at it at the moment. Press F4. Okay. First thing I want to do is just drag out a plane just about here. Now I'm going to need auto grid for this. There we go. Okay. And that'll give me my place I'm going to start from. And I'm going to take this down to 1 by 1. Right click, convert to editable poly, H torso. Okay, now for our scaffold mesh here, right click, go to properties, I'm going to make this see-through and I'm going to freeze it up. There we go. Now I can get busy with this one over here. First thing I'm going to do is hide stats, so there we go. Right, now with this piece, I'm going to go straight down the middle and just do a connect. This gives me a place to work from. And I'm only doing one side, so I'm going to delete this off. Just until I've actually got a basic shape to work with. Grab this vert and just move it across like that. Go to about there, then to about there, about here. Obviously we're going to have to make this a lot smoother, as this is the high polygon model. About there. Just clean my mouse ball again. There we go. I find myself having to do this quite regularly. I'm quite tempted to break out the Wacom at the moment. Okay, to there. Then here. Then here. And this is just so that I can kind of get the overall shape of this. I'm not going to make an enclosed model at the moment. There we are. Reason being that the detail at the top sections actually split into quite a few sections, and so if I do that, it's going to take a while. Okay, now this piece, swing it around about there, where that piece intersects. And in a bit like that, maybe up a bit too. What I'm trying to do is build an outside shape, really, which is kind of complicated to explain, but what I want to build is kind of the opposite part to the piece that I'm building at the moment. And so I'm looking at references at the same time that I'm doing this as well. Now I need to build a bridge across here, so I'm going to have to half this piece, because my scaffold was just that. It wasn't an exact representation of what this should look like. Just hit delete there. Okay, now bring this straight out. A bit like that. It's tricky because Ed209 really is a very, very complicated shape indeed. Certainly one of the most complicated mechanical shapes I've seen, simply because it mixes automotive design with kind of standard mecha design that you should be fairly familiar with if you use 3D Palace tutorials quite a bit. And that leads to quite a few interesting kind of design differences, I suppose you'd say. Whoops, there we go. Okay, now this part here, bring that out. See, I'm not building on top of this, I'm just using it, as I've said before, as a kind of frame. Just a quick bridge there, just so I can get that shape. Okay, now, the cowling actually comes forward and over, so come to about there, come straight up through there and do a connect. Okay, and bring this up a bit, like that. Drop into perspective. And I'm just kind of shaping this. There's going to be a lot of tweaks in this, simply because of the nature of the shape here. Okay. Take out these polygons for the moment. Alright, starting to get there with this shape. Delete this one. Bring these straight down like that. Now then, this piece here is going to come back. Give it a kind of angry looking chin piece almost. Okay, and I'm going to bring this part here forward. Use shift for that. And just a little bit across like so. And this will come out slightly more here. This is the ill-fated radiator grille, which is another great example of design over form, function. So it's form over function again with this. But that was a deliberate part of the build for this, remember? Okay, now down here. Shift and drag again. Just really trying to get the shapes I need at the moment. And over here, and delete these, because I really don't need them at the moment. That'll give me a chance to round out this piece. So about there. Okay. Again, just looking at my model. I'm going to take this part here. Shift drag. And move this one out a little bit like that, and back a little bit. Just to get this kind of rim. And this rim pulls into the side of this, so bring that out. Do a quick weld just here. I'll just increase the threshold a little bit, just that it binds. And could do with probably pulling this part at the front down a little bit more. Yeah, that's about right. Just looking at this piece here, seeing how it's going to fit in. That's going to come out to about there. Bridge that. Actually, I can't with this here. So, delete there. Now then, I think I've got a couple of inverse polys that I'm going to be kind of wary of. I'll just put that one back that I deleted. And I'm going to bring these up a little bit. About that far should do it. I'll just do that. Bring that lip in a bit. Now then, over here I'm going to kill this polygon. Well, maybe not kill it, but I'll move it a little bit. So I'm going to do a cut from here down to there. And then I'm going to delete this polygon. There we go, and that detaches it. Now I'm going to grab here and do a target weld. Like so. And then I'm going to bring these out just a tiny bit more. Not too much. There we are. And then I can grab here to here and do a bridge. Okay, evidently not. 3dsmax has decided it hates me today. So I'll just do a create and see if it lets me do that instead. There we go. Okay, now this part over here is a little bit, well, quite a lot in the wrong area, so I'm going to fix that up by doing a connect. Move that over to about here. That's better. A bit more. Stop straightening up my edges a bit. Just need to bring this part up. Now it looks like there's a little bit of target welding needed. So, target weld. Or it could just be there's a duff polygon. Let's have a look at that. Let's collapse it. Evidently not. Aha, I see it. See, I wasn't paying attention again. Okay. It's an exciting shape, but it's also a very, very complicated shape. Okay. Now I need to get this more or less parallel like so. This piece is going to go up to about here. And I'm going to do a cut. Probably straight across here. Like so. And then go straight into doing a create. Then I can get rid of this edge. Hopefully. Evidently not. That's okay, I'll just cut a new one straight up here. Like so. Still can't get rid of that one for some obscure reason. That would probably explain why I was treating it as a separate object. Let's see if we can just weld it together. Yes. Okay, that problem's solved. Now, we need to look at this. Make Make sure it's all kind of lining up okay. Now then, this part here on the top needs to be flattened completely, so I'm going to scale it down just on the local axis like so. Now be wary, because you're going to start getting some bendy polygons if you're not careful. Okay, now we're at the back of this piece, so let's have a look down here. Now then, over here we're going to have quite an important part coming out, which is where it kind of clamps on the edge. So just having a look at this shape here, and I'm just checking another reference. Okay, now what it looks like to me from the references is that this actually banks out more or less at an angle. So I'm going to continue that like so, and then we'll get a much more workable shape. There and there. Okay. Now then, looking at this shape again. This isn't really high enough, so that needs to be about there, in a bit, and then this part here needs to be in quite a lot. Need to keep it to the side of the shape. Let's bring that out just a tiny bit. There we are. Same with this one, and this one. Bring this out a bit more. Right, let's reflatten this. And kind of get these in a bit so they're in the right area. Okay, that looks right. I'm going to bring this piece here in a little, like that. Like I said, lots and lots and lots of minor tweaks. There we go. Okay, so that piece is looking more or less right. This part here needs to go back a little bit more, but that's okay because we won't end up with this crossed polygon if I do that. Now I want to take this away. There we go. Now then, down here, where we've got quite a lot of shaping going on, now then, it's tricky because I'm kind of trying to find the right shape for this. I think I'll pull these in just a little bit more actually. There, that seems about right. Yep. Okay, now down here. To about there. And then I need to keep these parts really straight ideally, so I'm going to bring them straight down to about there. Then I'm going to bring this one and this one out like that. Scale just to scale flat. There to there, bridge. Now then, got to check that angle because obviously it's not coming out correct. Okay, and out of this there'll come a little piece that basically controls the movement of the shoulder for the ED209 unit. Okay, now is this coming out enough here? It is now. Okay. Have a check on the back now. Just find a decent reference for the back. There we are. It literally just kind of drops down and around. It's not a very complicated shape here. Okay, it comes down over there. And then basically we're just going to shift and drag it down to about here. And at the same time I'm going to bring this piece in and it will flatten it slowly. As long as I remember to use a chamfer on it. Not a chamfer, sorry, a connect on it. Like so. I think about 2 for the moment should be enough. Okay, now I can force this into the flat shape that I need for the back. Because at the minute it's a little bit 6s and 7s. Okay. Keep grabbing the wrong pieces there. Hang on. There we go. Okay, bring that out. To about there. Okay. And this piece here needs to come back like that, just so we can define the shape better. Alright. I did tell you it was a complicated shape. Now over here at the back. Drag that down. I'm just building kind of the basic shape of the back at the moment. Pretty much the same as if I was doing it as a scaffold, just because I want to get the shape that I need with it. Okay. This one. Admittedly, as this part's non-functional, I don't really need to go overboard in what I'm doing anyway, so that does help. Okay, I'm going to go here. I swear the bridge tool hates me today. There we go. I very rarely use the create tool, and today I'm using it in spades, so there we go, bring that down to there. Grab there, do a quick weld. Check my weld worked. Seems like it did. Okay, back to this. weld. That one needs a target weld, really. There we are. There's there and do a connect. Only one connect will do. Like I say, I could cut this part off our scaffold that I've already made, but really, that kind of belies the point of the scaffold. The scaffold's here for our benefit. So, I really don't want to kind of be messing around with it when it's here as a guide, because we just have to create another one to use as a template in the background. Okay, there we are. Now then, that needs to be brought down a little bit because it's up a bit. There we are. That needs to be brought down a bit too. Bring that down. Bring that in. I'm using hotkeys to switch between vertex and edge simply because it's slightly quicker. But you can see the hotkeys being displayed, so you've got no reason to be worried. Okay, do a quick weld. Weld, she no work. Ah, I see. I was not near enough. Sometimes the scaffolding can be confusing. Okay, I'll just do a target weld. Start putting this together. It comes together a bit like jigsaw, I suppose, where you finally kind of realise how the edges all work. Right. Connect there, which straightens out that polygon a little bit as well. Okay, straighten this out a bit. That's already filled. Underside of this needs to go across, so use the scale tool and then the move tool, and just bring that across to our bounding box end about here. Quick target weld here, and then some nice cuts in a moment. So just fix this piece because it's a little bit messy, quite a lot messy actually. There we go. Okay. Quick ring, quick connect. Bit too much of a ring and a connect there. I think I've accidentally made a really good edge loop on my Ed 209, so again, just quick connect. And a cut. Delete that. Now get in over here and fix that god-awful cut that I just did. I honestly think I'd never used 3dsmax before. we are. And bridge. Right. Now, start rounding this shape a bit more here. There we are. Use these to round it a bit as well. Alright, now go back to the front of it again. Just try and get a decent view of the underside. It's fairly much just a kind of smooth run back to the underside of the chin. You'll remember it from when we did the scaffold earlier. So I'll just bring that back to there. And this one, just bring it straight across. Quick target weld. Good thing about this is, once we've got this detail out the way, you see, the next part's just, well, that's the fun bit, really. It's making masses of detail. That's if you find making masses of detail fun, obviously. If you don't, then it's utter misery for you. But for me, I enjoy that part. Okay. Interesting. Seem to have bent a little bit there. There we are. In invert mode, just fix whatever the heck's going on here. Now then, this really isn't wide enough anyway, so there we are, that's better. Bring this part in a little bit, then it'll make this lip. Just gotta be careful not to overlap it. So okay. Now if I grab here to here and just do a bridge, and then here to here, do a bridge. Now then I need to thin this up. That's better. Because it ends up being quite thin in the middle of that lip. Now on the underside here, I need to add a bit more curve, so go straight through. And start rounding this a little bit. There's some interesting vent detail goes on in here soon, so we're going to have to catch that. Also this is going to have to come in because it's came out a little bit too far there. Bring this in. There we are. Really tricky piece of just tweaking and manipulating going. So if I remember, and I'll try and make a note to myself, I'll try and include a time lapse of this, because that might give you slightly more of a understanding of the way this kind of plays out. Okay, just curve this a bit more here. I mean, for what amounts to a very simple object so far, it's been quite complicated to put this together, but hopefully you can kind of understand why now. Just trying to find the kind of back plate on this. Yet again, looking at references and trying to find one that's the same as the other ones. Okay, found the reference. Delete there. And there. Typical. Let's see. It doesn't slope back at the back after all. So, because I managed to just dig up a different movie reference here, so we're just going to change it a bit more again. That still goes in there and back a bit. There we go, like so. And bring that back a bit like that. And bring that one out. There. Now then, over here, if I just... God, this is a weird and thoroughly unfun shape, this one. Right, I'm going to extrude this one in by local normal. Like that. Click OK. And then I'm going to grab this edge here. I'm going to have to round about there. It's a tricky one, this shape. Now it angles down a bit more at the back here, so which means it angles slightly more here as well, in order to keep it straight. Then we get this kind of shelf piece, so that piece doesn't matter because it comes way up. There we go. Flatten it. I love having to backtrack little bits at a time, don't you? Okay, and that is going to bridge onto this, like so. And that across to about there. Okay, I'm going to grab this, bring it up. Grab this piece and bring it up to about there, and across to about there. Start bringing these up to reflect that. Okay, now link this in. Pretty glad that I actually noticed this, because I hate missing things like this, I really do. Now delete these inside polygons, there and there. Because this cowl's going to come over slightly more than that anyway. Now, over here. Bring this down a little bit, like that. And just bridge there. Straight across the middle to connect. Bridge there. And bridge here. And here. And here. Okay. Funny, it looks like a little spaceship at the minute. But it's very much kind of a, I suppose it's a kind of science fiction pod shape that they came up with, so. Okay, next. Just going to grab all the way through this, do a connect. Before I do, I'll do this in the dialog mode, then I can slide it without damaging my geometry. Just slide it across to about there. Now, I'm going to take this edge here and move it back a little bit. I'll move this vert with it. And, oh, this is an interesting one here as well, so I'm just going to bring this one back to about there. Delete it. And delete that. And bring this edge right down, like so. Oh. Now I'm going to get here and drag this to about there. Click here and bridge. Now, start straightening this up a bit. And now over here, if I go and start deleting the insides of this. Ay. You know, I wasn't going to do this much in this one recording session. There we are. So yet again, I'm going for another epic length one. Now over here, that to there. Right, I'm going to target weld this in. It's just the easiest way of dealing with it. Same over here. Cap that shut. Underside. Cap that shut. Okay, now, interestingly, because it's designed like a chassis, like I mentioned about a trillion times, I can delete that off. Bring this straight down into touch with this. There we go. Now, at the back here, where this part is, if I delete that one and that one, that gives me this shape. Scale it flat. Bring it back. Do a quick weld. Okay. Now this piece here is a little bit large, so I'm going to poly mode, push it back to about there. Just make sure this is flat, so I'll scale it and then move it. There we go. Now over here is a perfectly reasonable shape, funnily enough. Let's have a look at it. It's a bit of an enigma, that one. Ah, I see, it's because this edge here is too far out. There we go. That makes things much more logical. Let's just connect these parts. Now then, onto the inside here. So, looking at the underside. Bridge there. And there. No, that's made too unpleasant a shape, which I'm not happy with, so I'll just cut it. Delete that. Bridge that. Cut that. Run these down. Do a connect on them. Ironically enough, that connect was exactly in the right place because I'd done the slide from last time. Delete that. Okay, got the mounting coming in here, so bridge there. Do a connect. That's in the right place as well. Bridge. Alright. Now, go through here. Do a connect. 0 at this time. Then a nice wide chamfer. Now from here to here, oops, there to there, do a connect, bring it in that way, and target weld. Okay, and that cuts us this hole that we need here, that we'll hang all our bits out of. Go here and do a ring. Now it's ringed all the way through the entire thing, so connect. Bring that out a little bit. Bring that up just a tiny bit there. Now, get these ones here, here, oops, a daisy, and here. Let's bring them over to there. Now then, I'm going to extrude these, like so. Then delete these, and these. Go back into target weld mode. Okay, next. Put that into there. Then extrude this back up into here. Delete. That gives us our inside piece, just there. Alright. And now if we go to our display, freeze, unfreeze all, kill our scaffold, okay, and now with this, stick a symmetry on it, making sure we use the correct axis only. Okay, now I'm going to pin that, go down to here. I tend to just pin the place in the stack out of sheer force of habit. You don't really have to unless you've got lots in your stack. Another good way of doing this is just to select this entire edge here. Hang on. There we go, just do a loop. And then just use the scale to flat option. Then you can just drag it around as much as your heart pleases until it crosses over like that. Convert to edible poly. Right, the front there seems to be round enough. Before I collapse the symmetry, I think I could probably do with just bringing this piece down a little bit here and a little bit here as well. There we are, just kind of rounding the shape. We can do more tweaks to that later on. This needs to come up a bit. There we are. Okay. So that's it so far. There's a couple of pieces here that haven't been capped that I really need to do, so let's quickly do that now. There we are. Right, so that's okay. So until next time, I'll see you in the next part. Bye bye for now.